So, before we get into The Last of Us Episode 6, we gotta do our classic new world-renowned segment called the One Sentence Review. Now, I've been trying to get this off the ground for the last couple weeks, and I've been struggling to remember it exists, but I did it this time. So, I'll go ahead and take the first reins, because, I haven't been going first, because I usually like to say my opinion, because I have a real controversial opinion every episode. But my opinion this time is not so controversial. My One Sentence Review is... the game did it better.
Fair enough.
Anyone up next?
I got it. I will go with at least we got a good Joel and Ellie episode.
Oh, okay. This episode fucked with me in a couple ways.
Damn, man. Now we can't put this on the YouTube Kids because you just cussed in your One Sentence Review.
Asshole. How are we going to do that? We already had the other 5 up there.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. The kids really liked our One Sentence Reviews. So this episode this is probably the biggest episode that pissed me off the most in the entire show. Because you guys remember how I talked a long time ago? Not but like a long time ago, I mean like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said the 2 things I want expanded are Tommy and Winter.
Mm-hmm.
So here was Tommy.
Yeah.
And it was not expanded.
I don't have anything to compare it to, so I can't speak as much as you can on this, but it seems like it was very quick.
I agree.
That's kind of all I had about that.
This is what we've been building to the entire show so far, basically. Is like, this is Joel's main purpose, is to come find Tommy. We found Tommy, and we were there for 20 minutes.
It's like 40 minutes, but... Well, yeah, you were there for 20, because it took 20 to get there from the start of the episode.
Yeah.
And it was just like, dude, what the fuck, man? And like, it made me even more upset, because I was like, we wasted time with Kathleen instead of this. It made me retroactively hate the Kathleen shit even more.
It's true, dude.
And
we had 2 episodes about that.
2?
Yeah. 2 episodes, and Joel's brother gets 20 minutes, really. It was just like, dude, this is... I don't know what happened. Someone made a great point. I was watching another reviewer, and he was like, usually when you adapt a piece of media, you expand on it. Instead, they're compressing it.
Yeah.
And that's my issue. Like, this is probably going to be fine for people who haven't played the game, but at this point, it's like, I would rather actively play the game, because then I get more. Like, I'm actually getting more of these characters and more story.
I don't think it's fine for me just because I haven't played the game. I will say I like this show. I think it's a good show so far. That being said, I'm not emotionally invested in it at all, because they're not going super complex into the characters. So, at the end with Joel, like, I'm like, okay, like, whatever. I don't really care too much, I don't know. I'm not there as much as I would be probably if they expanded, or as much as people that played the games. And that's what's going to suck at the end, making scores for this, is because, like, I do like the show and I think there's good premises to it, but it either feels like there's some forced stuff in it, or it feels like this episode where they just try to go through it way too quick instead of developing things. Like, I got questions about Tommy, his wife, the whole, city, like, or the whole, whatever, not city, but kind of community that they raised.
It's a city.
Yeah. But especially, like, I like when characters play house, like, not as much as a free kid, but I like the whole, like, let's settle down for a little bit and live here. And I was like, Joel, like, you guys have been on the road for fucking so long at this point. Like, you guys can't spend 2 nights here and, like, actually see your brother and, like, just actually, live for a little bit. So that kind of pissed me off. I know they have a purpose of getting her to make a cure, but at the same point, like, I don't know, I'd like to see them actually be able to survive in a environment that they know they're safe in.
We literally had a 3-month time skip just to get to this episode, which
yeah,
that in and of itself kind of upset me at the beginning. I was like, okay, so we just cut out, that much of their journey, which I'm sure do they touch on that part between KC and Wyoming in the game?
No.
Okay, well then, you know what?
That's very much done intentionally after
right.
the Sam and Henry stuff.
All right, so then that upsets me a little bit less now, but that happens, and they've been on the road for 3 to 4 months, and then they just immediately have to. They, like Eli said, they can't even sit day for a couple days and just get their bearings, relax, hold out for a little bit, and then leave. Like, it's aggravating. I'm not. I'm slightly more emotionally invested than Eli is, though. So that part gets to me a little bit more with the characters. I feel for them slightly more. But I'm also enjoying the show currently, even with some of the stuff that they choose to do.
What's that term called where it's like something slapping your hand to spite your face? You guys remember what that saying is?
No, I'm unfamiliar.
All right, you guys are fucking uneducated. Thank you for
I know.
helping me. But it's like something to spite your face. I forget what the term is all the way. But the sentiment of that is very much what's happening here. Especially now that I'm picking up on it. This episode made me mad. Actively made me upset.
Oh.
And people are gonna be like, yeah, get triggered, pussy, because I know how fans of the second game are. It's very much two camps, like I've always been saying. There's a second game likers, lovers, and the second game haters. And one of us is more rational than the other.
Oh no.
And to be fair, it's probably the lovers who are more rational. The haters, there's some weirdos who don't like the second game who are very fucking strange about why they don't like it. And they don't argue very well. They're just like, I hate it because this. But this episode specifically is the first time where I'm like, they're trying too hard to set up the second season.
Oh no.
They never went to Jackson in the game.
They didn't?
No.
So then where was Tommy?
Do you remember when they're walking by on the horse and they stop and they look for 30 seconds at like a hydroelectric dam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they were the whole time.
At the dam?
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
The entire time they were at the dam in the game, and that's where you are. Because they get attacked by raiders at that dam. And that's why they're getting out of there so fast. Right?
Okay.
And so to me, I was like, this would be a great time to expand it because it would be interesting to see Joel's relationship with his brother, see more of everything in the community, and then you have them go, right?
Yeah.
Instead, like I said, they got attacked the dam, that's why they left early. They were still there longer in the game than the show, despite leaving
oh
quick.
My gosh. Of course they were.
And that's the most upsetting part. And it's just like, damn. And they basically took moments in this to establish the second game. You don't see Jackson inside until the second game.
Oh, God.
You don't see these people until later. You know what I mean? And it was just like, what the fuck is this? Like this, like I if you're gonna do this, you gotta expand, not close. Because now you're taking shit out and condensing stuff again. And there's a specific moment in here that it didn't make sense of the episode. I'll bring it up to you guys. You guys be like, what the fuck was that? That was random. Do you remember when Ellie, Joel, Tommy, and his wife, Tommy's new wife, are all sitting at the table?
Yeah.
And Ellie's just eating?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's a random fucking kid looking at Ellie. She goes, what the fuck you looking at?
Yeah.
Like, that was randomly, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That is a character from the second game.
Oh, no.
And I caught it instantly. I actually looked it up. A lot of people didn't. Some people did not catch that instantly. And I saw it. I was like, that better not be who I fucking think it is. Like, that's what I said. In my notes, I said, no, that better not be who I think it is. And I looked it up. It was. And I was like, motherfucker, you guys are doing it again. You guys can't just stop and do the first game fine and then go to the second game and then change stuff. You have one game that's universally loved and then one game that is super controversial. Why the fuck would you change the universally loved one?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
To benefit the controversial one. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it's like, all right, dude. Because that scene, like I said, made no fucking sense. Ellie was a little too crazy this episode.
I agree.
She was popping off for no reason.
Yeah, she was.
And I picked, someone explained it to me a little bit better when I started reading stuff online. Ellie in the game and this Ellie are two fucking different people. Like, very different people. I think even you could probably pick it up, Eli, from just having played the little bit you did. Ellie in the game is a little bit cooler. Like, she's a little bit nicer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's a little brash at the beginning just because they just met, but by this point, you can tell she really loves Joel. Like she likes him a lot. In the show, they're just telling me that. They're not necessarily showing me that.
I'd agree. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I like their bond. I like when they are actually exploring that. Like I said last episode, where Joel's on the balcony, sniping and protecting Ellie, and acting like that figure that, oh, I'm gonna protect you no matter what. But we don't get enough of that for what it's built up as, I guess.
I agree. And the worst part is 3 episodes left. One of them's a flashback.
No.
Next week's a flashback episode.
Of course it is, because they don't want to tell you whether Joel's alive or not right away.
Yeah, so it's like you got 2. See, they got 1 episode to build their connection, and then the finale.
See, oh my god, I'm gonna go off on a rant real quick. This is my least favorite shit, is when there's a character on the verge of death. Do I think Joel is dead? No, and I'll explain why later. But I hate when they leave a character on the verge of death, right? And then they wait fucking forever to tell you whether that character's alive. They did it with a certain someone in The Walking Dead under the dumpster reek.
Yes, they did.
And they waited, what, 5-6 episodes?
A lot.
It was a lot of fucking episodes to tell you whether that dude was still alive or not.
Enough to where you thought he was for sure dead.
Yeah, exactly. And then with this too, like, it's like, oh yeah, just tune in for next week. You can see if he's alive or not. The anticipation. Oh wait, flashback episode.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know exactly. Like I very much told you guys. I think last week I said I saw the episode title names and I was like, I know exactly how it's gonna go. And it's not my issue that I've said since episode 1. There's not enough time. You can't do 9 episodes for this. You need at least 12. Like, if you have 3 more episodes, you could double up this episode, right? And then you could double up something later, and then you can add in an extra episode of them bonding. Instead, you're just bam, 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 bam. And not only are you bam, bam, bamming, you're adding bullshit to cut out more of their time together, like Kathleen.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Going to the death scene, my real life, thinking would lead me to believe that he's dead. Like, that's not an area you want to be stabbed in, right? That being said, I think there's only one way this story's going to go, and that's that they finally found the fireflies they were looking for, and they're going to take him in and heal him, and we'll see where that goes. But I think that's kind of the only way that this story goes, is that he's saved by them and healed.
I saw that scene where he gets, stabbed and stuff, and I was like wondering how they were going to do it, because in the game, he gets fucked up a lot worse than that.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, they can't do that. Like, it's too much. Like, there would have been there'd be no suspense, because you'd probably be like, he's got to die. Like, what happened to him in the game, you're like, he's fucking gone. There's no way, dude. He falls off a balcony through a piece of rebar that hits him through his hip.
Oh,
damn!
Puncture clean through his hip.
Damn.
And I was like, yeah, in real life you're gone after that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
the
you're not surviving.
Dean Winchester rebar.
Not the rebar.
Yeah, bro, it was tough. But the show is it's well done. The acting's great. I was gonna say level design, dumbass. It's not a video game. The fucking set design's amazing.
It's beautiful, yeah.
It's just that some of the directional choices, again, it's like,
crazy.
Damn. It's funny because that's my issue with the second game, was directional choices.
It's funny because that's my issue with a lot of shit. Is wow, the acting's great, the producer and the people, not set design, but you know what I'm trying to say. That it's great until you get to who's writing the story, and you're like, wow, you could have made this, and this changes, and I don't know. It's aggravating because you have something that has so much potential, and I mean, yeah, you might be appealing to the people who haven't played the games, but even me, like I know there's something better. Like, I don't know.
That's probably my fault because I keep fucking saying it every episode. Like, game's still your players again. Don't forget what happened in the game. Like, I'm really that sweaty keyboard Cheeto finger cunt. Like in every review.
Not necessarily, man. Because I mean, I I end every episode with, well, okay, like we'll see where this goes, or like I'm never really like shocked or like, oh yeah, this was awesome. Like I liked the Bill and Frank stuff. Like I thought that was a great episode as an episode, and that was again that wasn't in the game. But that was the one episode, and since then I haven't really gotten the feeling of this being a really good episode and me being somewhat attached to it.
Last week didn't get you?
No, it was a good episode. I thought it was a good episode. I thought the last little bit was good. It wasn't like a case where I like was just crying over the characters that we lost along the way. Like I don't know. Like I remember saying like I'm like this was cool because it left you with that feeling of like depression and stuff, and that's super cool. But it didn't leave me with the feeling of wow, like this show is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I get what you're saying.
Oh, sorry. You go for it, Tristan?
No, I was just I get what you're saying about that. I am personally slightly more invested. So, granted, I thought that they were going to do more at the university with finding the Fireflies. Clearly, I was wrong. But then
that was super cut short.
Oh, I believe it. Like, just like monkeys. Bad. Monkeys, Joel gets stabbed, and they're gone. That's what happened. It felt like I was watching an episode of Dora, honestly. But then just to see him fall off the horse, like that kind of, it hit me a little bit. I've become a little bit invested by this time in the story. I've become more invested in Joel, slightly less Ellie, but definitely more Joel, and we're getting more pieces to his story, and I get it. And so I felt for that. But I understand why the individual episodes have not gotten you to be super invested, Eli. The individual episodes don't do a great job, in my opinion, either.
So, Ellie was being a goofy this episode with the whole thing where she ran down the stairs. Like, Joel, she's like, can I come down the stairs? No. And then she comes down the stairs. What's up? It's like all that being weird and stuff. The scene with the dogs in the snow sniffing her and stuff, and then she starts playing with a dog. I was just like, man, I'm not a big fan of this portrayal of her so much. Bella Ramsey's doing fine, but I just don't think they gave her great direction on what she should do, because she's a good actress. So I'm like,
oh yeah, I agree.
I've heard people say she's very good. I'm not familiar with her, to be honest with you. I thought she was like 12, and then someone said she's 19.
She's what? No way. Because she's
like, wow.
Where is she from?
Game of Thrones.
No. Where is she
UK.
from?
Bruv.
She's a bruv?
UK bruv.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Everybody that you see on your TV is a bruv, just in disguise.
No kidding, dude. They're
in disguise.
They're everywhere. Like I
John Bernthal, like the only non-bruv in The Walking Dead, bro.
Even Daredevil's a bruv, bro.
Like I heard her talk in the behind the scenes, and I went, wait a second, I forgot about that. I was like, where is that from? Where is she from?
She's a bruv, because all of Game of Thrones motherfuckers were bruvs, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
Except, no, everyone, yeah. I can't think of anyone. I didn't watch the show, but...
I can't. Yeah.
Everyone in there was definitely a bruv. She was being goofy. They finally get to Tommy in the city. Tommy's like, my brother. Like, yeah. And they start hugging and stuff, and then you realize very quickly that they are not in the best of terms before he got lost. They start beefing, they start having their little argument back and forth, and then he's like, I'm gonna be a dad, Joel, and he's like, fuck you. It's like, what the fuck?
Dude, I know. For real.
He's like, bro, what the fuck? I told you I'm gonna be a dad. You're like, fuck you. That's what the hell.
I think I'll be a good dad. Maybe.
Yeah, that was kind of... He was just looking for too much praise for no reason. Being a little bit of a fucking pick-me guy. The Miller boys love darker women, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty true, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, now that you mention it.
Joel had a black daughter. This dude's with a black woman. Interesting times. Yeah, they changed those races. And I'm very, like... The people who they're picking to change races are, like, kind of important, but not important enough characters. So I'm like, all right.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are just trying to check a box. I can feel it.
Yep.
Right? It's like, okay, come on now. You could have added someone more important to change their race, but I guess not.
Or a new character that wasn't shit and changed. Not you wouldn't have to change their race for that.
Kathleen could have been black and she would have been more intimidating.
Mm. What are you saying there, Reek?
I'm saying that she looks like Canadian soccer mom.
You say
black women can't be Canadian soccer moms?
Black mothers are scary.
Wow.
Oh.
If you get a character who exudes black mother energy, Joel would have been scared. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what y'all are saying, you two non-coloreds.
I ain't saying shit. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying I'm shutting up.
Yeah, dude. I don't want Twitter on my ass.
Yeah, we get a Dina cameo. Fuck Dina. On God. And then Joel gets the premonition of his not daughter outside because he saw another girl with puffy hair. And I'm like,
who's
damn,
the real
Joel.
Racist?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's kind of fucked up, Joel. That's racial profiling.
Yeah, it is.
What the hell? That's your own daughter you're profiling. What the fuck?
Yeah, facts, dude.
Oh my gosh.
And then this is the most egregious part of this whole thing.
Okay.
Remember when I talked to you guys, I said I cried at something that happened this episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So we don't ask me what it is because I'll tell you.
Was it when he said, "I'm not your dad"?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the only part I could really assume.
They nerfed that moment very badly.
Really?
There's a lot of stuff that happens prior to that scene that contextualizes that scenario. And they took all of it out.
That sucks.
That's funny because they were like sucking the meat of that scene in the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, they were. And I was like, they're like, we think we did it just as good as the game. I'm like, no, the fuck you didn't. And every single person I've read on the internet has said, no, the fuck you didn't. Because
sucks.
I'll give you the quick breakdown of it. You go to the power plant, people raid them. Ellie finds out herself that you're going to ditch her. Because of that, she gets mad, steals a horse, takes off. Right? So she runs out into the wild on a horse. Not just like, whatever she's hiding, like in a random house. She like legit left the camp, took off into the village. She ends up going through bandits and gets past them, and you have to fight the bandits to get towards her, right? You fight all these bandits, you chase her down, finally get to her, and then the scene happens there. Because then she actually did something, not just whined. And that was my issue with this, she whined. I'm also disappointed because I thought they were going to turn up the acting. They actually kept it the same, if not dropped it lower. Because I really thought like you'd get like Pedro when he says like, he's like, when he goes, "I'm not your dad." I thought he was going to cry more or like shake something. Like give me a little bit more. It was surprisingly muted. And I don't know if it's because they wanted to focus on that scene in the show that happened prior to this. The one with Joel and Tommy talking. Mm-hmm. Where he's like, I'm getting old. I don't got it anymore. Like, I think that they wanted to make that scene like the one you take away from this episode. And I was like, I don't care.
It did feel like they wanted you to care more about him and Tommy's relationship more than him and Ellie. It was just kind of weird. Like, I don't know.
It's a little backwards.
Yeah. Sorry, Eli, I'm cutting you off. What you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that's less of an acting issue and more of a direction / writing issue.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's my exact same takeaway. And I was like, damn. Because when that scene happens in there, you just fought through 2 waves of bandits to go get her, had to chase her down with Tommy, finally go get her. She's in this house, and then it recontextualizes the thing when she's in that house sitting there on reading the diary, and she's like, is this really what it was like back then? Because, she basically went through all this bullshit to get to this house, to have this sanctuary, and you had to kill a bunch of people to get here to see her be normal, And then you get the entire, I'm not Sarah, which, Jesus Christ, I can't believe. Oh, the audacity of Ellie to say that, man. I mean, I'm not her.
She said that in the game too, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she goes, I'm not her, and he goes, dude, like that's where I thought they should have had Pedro turn it up, because I know he can act. And he should have got like the dad mad, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Where like you're like shaking, but you can't yell because you don't want to yell at the kid. So you're like, you're crossing the line, like something like that, where like you're choking up through your words.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they were trying to make Joel badass there or what, but he really didn't get as emotional as I thought he could.
What a shame.
And it was just, interesting, especially. I think it's the direction thing because Bella, I would not believe her in that scene.
Yeah,
No.
She was just bleh in that, and I was like, damn, man, y'all
Again,
could have turned that up.
For a first-time viewer, like you talking so emotionally about it, like for somebody who hasn't seen it before, like, and this being my first interaction, like I should have that effect. And if they say that they did it as good as the game, I should have that effect. Because if it's just as good, then I would have believed it a little more. And again, I wasn't invested in it at all. So, and I didn't believe it at all.
Yeah, and that was probably my biggest thing was like, because the scene itself was 1-for-1, but you need the context for that,
Right.
That was my only real big angry gripe with this episode.
Missing context is one of the worst things that people can do to an adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, look at Cowboy Bebop. I will not say that this is that because it's absolutely fucking not.
No.
But that entire show missed context, and they didn't even realize the theme of the show. To be fair,
no, not at
especially
all.
with the "I won't carry that weight" thing. Like that's when you know it went over their head. Like they missed the entire point of the show. I won't carry that weight. No, motherfucker. The point is you don't get the choice. But hey, who am I but a fan?
You think the people who made this, especially the writers, were shaking in their boots a little bit when people loved the first episode of this so much? Because they're like, damn, like we literally just copied the game. We didn't do that for the rest of the episodes.
They did that on purpose. The more this goes on, they did it on fucking purpose.
Absolutely.
They tried to get you invested in it.
Yeah, they were like, I'm like, literally to me, that's still the best episode of the show, but that's just me.
I agree. No, I agree.
And it's because it's 1-for-1. They knew the intro is the strongest part of the game. Even you said, like, that game has an amazing intro.
It does.
And so they knew, like, hey, if we keep that the same, we'll get the game people and we'll hook new people.
Right.
And then we just got to add stuff in. A lot of stuff they were doing early, they stopped doing very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were adding context to the outbreak with those little extra scenes. Like the sit-down interview in the first episode, the lab in the second episode. By the second episode, they stopped doing those. And those are really cool to me.
Yeah.
I really liked when they did the whole like bomb it all thing. Just bomb away. That kind of shit. Yeah. That was dope.
I don't know. I feel like I haven't played the games, but I feel like that's an addition that isn't bad. Like
that is an addition and it's great.
And again, I guess there's no really additions to this point. It's just subtraction, but
it is. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're taking shit out instead of adding shit too. I think that I think they thought they were going to get more episodes than HBO gave them. I think that they made those first two first. Like they thought they had time. And then HBO comes back, we're like, we don't know if this show will do well. You get 9 instead of say 12 or 13 or something. And after that, that's when they started doing what they're doing now. Because I feel like the first 3 episodes are one thing and then the rest of the series has been something else.
I agree. Yeah,
it definitely feels that way.
And I also told you guys I think it's because the dude who wrote the first second game, he's a part of the writing team for this. I also think, like I said, he doesn't know how to write anymore.
Right. I know how you feel about that.
And I really think the more this is going on, if he has as big of a hand as he keeps saying he does in the BTS, he doesn't know how to write anymore. I really don't. I think he's missing the point of his own fucking work.
He's washed.
That's crazy to me.
He's a sellout.
There must have been like an assistant or an editor who was really helping him out because every time this shit keeps going on and happening, I'm like, there's no way you wrote this. There's not possible, man. I also think that we're not getting any fights or any battles in the show, which makes the tension feel lower. Because there's only been 3 or 4 fights the entire show.
I sometimes forget this is a zombie show too.
And it's like, damn, bro. And I think that's because of COVID, to be honest with you. Because I had to look it up, but I think they were filming during COVID. And if you notice, a lot of scenes don't have more than like 4 characters at a time.
Yeah, that's true.
The only time they had more than that was the fucking entire fight with the sniper rifle. Which I think they probably filmed later on after COVID started to ramp down.
All the extras and everything.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I could possibly think of. But other than that, I'm just like, damn, bro, there's like really not many scenes where they're doing anything. Fighting-wise or fighting, even raiders, not even just zombies, like anybody. They just don't, doesn't feel like any danger. They've gone through the U.S. with very little resistance.
That's the thing, is like, I get I get what you're saying about the dam, like, and how that was a better story because they're talking about, oh, the river of death, this river of death, everybody's, they go into it and they never come back, blah, blah, blah. And it would make sense if they actually encountered raiders at the dam. I get, when they actually got to Jackson, right?
Yeah.
I get when they got to Jackson and they were like, oh, yeah, no, it's just a reputation. Like, I get that they addressed it, but at the same point, like, I think it would have been a better visualization of it is if they did something with it and they had actual raiders and not somebody who, oh, we're going to take you back to our home and you can live with us.
Yeah, I'm still going with that. I think people will not be satisfied by the ending of this season because they didn't have enough time with the characters. I'm still sitting there. I'm still going to die on that hill. And if I end up being right, to be fair, I've been right about a lot of things that I thought were going to happen with this show, which is sucks because I really wanted this to be fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
So if I'm right, I'm right. And then they're going to be in a tough spot for season 2 because they'll get the money now, but you already fucked up the part people like, Like, see, HBO will give them 12 or 13 or 15 or however many they want, but you can't redo the first part now.
Right. I think I'm overly critical about it because I'm disappointed in it. Like, I like it. Like I said, I am enjoying it. It just sucks because I want so much more from it that they're not giving me. So, I mean, for me, it's going to be possibly an above average rating, but at the same point, like, it's just so much more, and that's why I'm disappointed and usually upset when we talk about it.
Fair.
Because you see the potential, and they're just not living up to what it could be.
Right, exactly.
And that's pretty much the issue. Like we said, it's not bad at all, but